Welcome back, everybody. Joining us now, Republican Congressman from Oklahoma and Deputy Majority Whip Tom Cole. Sir, it's great to have you. And I just want to say real quickly, that beautiful shot of Washington, D.C. we just had up, it looks gorgeous there today. Finally, you're getting some much-deserved spring weather.
Absolutely. It is actually a great day.
No, it looks fantastic. Mark Halpern, you want to lead off?
Congressman, we've been talking a lot here around this table about the midterms and what the Republican message should be. Beyond saying Obamacare is bad, it should be changed, or in some cases, some of your colleagues will probably say repealed, what are the 2 or 3 things Republicans want the midterms to be about?
Well, first of all, I think the Ryan budget, which you'll see this week, whether we want it to or not, is going to be part of it, and it should be, because I think it's the one serious attempt in Washington, D.C. to actually deal with the deficit, particularly address some of the long-term drivers and entitlement. I think national security is now reemerging as an issue, given, frankly, the weakness of the American response and over the Ukrainian issue and the hot-button issues like the Iranian nuclear arms discussions and the Palestinian-Israeli dispute.
What's the difference between the 2 parties on national security in the context of this election?
I think, frankly, the president has a lot to offer for over the last several years. The reset with Russia, the cancellation of American anti-missile defense programs in Poland and Czech Republic, the debacle in Syria, all those sorts of things, I think, were the signals and the triggers for what Putin did. Beyond that, I think, again, we're for a more robust defense. I think we're for a stronger foreign policy in general. It's a pretty traditional Republican issue.
Julie Pace, your question for the congressman.
Good morning, Congressman.
Hey, Julie.
I wanted to ask you about some of these latest Obamacare numbers. It looks like about 7 million people will have enrolled, meeting the CBO estimates. What does that do to the Republican message going into the midterms? Does it change it at all if you have 7 million people that have signed up, many getting health insurance for the first time? Or
remember, many of those people signed up under duress. In other words, their policies had been canceled and they were forced to sign up. I would still look to the polling on this. This thing has never sold well. It's not popular. A lot of people are contacting us and talking about higher rates and higher deductibles and the inconvenience of having to go on the exchange when they had what they thought was perfectly adequate health care before. So I don't think the issue goes away at all. I still haven't seen very much satisfaction with the law itself. And in the end, that's the fundamental argument, not how many people go on a website.
Congressman, to your point, it's Donnie Deutsch. Looking at the polling, there's been a dramatic shift, a 9-point shift in the last few months, and for the first time, just about half of Americans, and that includes obviously Republicans and Democrats, are pro-Obamacare. So to Julie's point, aren't the Republicans now in a position where they just can't merely bang on Obamacare, and they need a much broader message than that?
Well, I think you actually need to have an alternative out there, and we're working toward doing that. We've got plenty of pieces of legislation, but we ought to unify behind a single alternative vision. But look, I think the issue doesn't go away. Again, I don't think millions of voters are going to flock to the polls because they're happy about Obamacare. I do think millions are going to come to the polls because they're unhappy. And, what the polls, they'll fluctuate a bit, but again, most of the polling I see suggests, particularly among our target groups, sentiment hasn't changed very much. I mean, what you've seen is a little firming up of Democratic support. I would expect that as we move toward the midterms, but I don't see a lot of Democratic enthusiasm.
Congressman, before we let you go, I just wanted to ask you real quickly about home and more Oklahoma. We're coming up next month. It'll be the 1-year anniversary of the tornado. We were there. Morning Joe was there. It was absolutely astonishing to be on site, to see the devastation firsthand. How are the people doing back at home?
Remarkably well, Thomas, and thank you for mentioning that. Thank you, more importantly, for being there at a critical moment for us. Look, the rebuilding has gone on extraordinarily well. Federal government, and I have to give the president a great deal of credit here, has responded extremely well. State and local government, and I have to tell you, we've seen a lot of tornadoes in Oklahoma. The outpouring and the generous support from other Americans all across the country was astonishing and has made an enormous difference in the comeback of that community. So we've been very blessed, as you always are as an American in a tough time, with how other Americans help you out. So I'm pretty proud of the entire country and how it responded, and very proud of the people there and how they dealt with adversity and just they pick themselves up, they come back, and but that's kind of the American way.
Congressman Tom Cole. Sir, great to see you. Thank you.
Good to see you.